Looking forward to this conversation and any way you want to take it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity. So I had one very intriguing question. So I've gone through your background, and it's so interesting to see that you've worn so many hats. Okay, army officer, author, coach, corporate mentor. So I would love to know what's the thread that ties all together for you. I mean, what is it?
Oh, okay. Honestly, I think they're all intertwined. They're
Mm-hmm.
not too separate from each other. They have quite a big overlap, and it's what has come naturally to me over the years. So, mentoring is something I've loved doing. Speaking is has been my profession all my life. And they all just overlap. So there's no real devious plan or something. It's just part of my personality.
And did you imagine as a child that you would end up taking up this path? Was it always there in your heart, in your soul, or it was just with the flow?
Oh, that's a brilliant question. So, as you mentioned in your introduction, I have Asperger's, which is also known as autism, right?
Mhm.
I was undiagnosed right up to the age of 52. I had no idea that I had autism. So my
Okay.
childhood was fairly different from my adult life. As a child, I would not have imagined where my life would go at all because I was pretty poor in studies, I was poor in
Mm.
sports, I was poor in almost everything. I didn't do any extracurricular activities. I was literally shut down and in survival mode through my childhood
Wow.
because of autism. Nothing wrong with
Okay.
where I grew up or anything. I grew
I,
up in a beautiful place, went to a fantastic school, had very
yes.
kind people around me, but um, autism has its own thing.
Yes. Yes. So you said that you were not much in sports. So then how did you end up getting into the forces? Like, what was it? What was the reason?
So as a kid, I was awkward. I was
Okay.
quite large. I was
Mm-hmm.
awkward, poor in studies,
Mm-hmm.
socially weird because of my autism. And I was generally a write-off. You know what I mean? I
Okay.
cleared
Okay.
all
Yeah.
my school years more on the kindness of my teachers than on any merit. So I would
Okay.
always get somewhere, 35% was the pass percentage to clear
Mm-hmm.
the exam. And I would always get in the range of 45, 47. That was my range. Whereas my classmates would be at 95, 96. So, yeah, back then there was no way I could imagine. And then what happened
Yeah.
was that somewhere in my late teens, towards 17, 18, I began to lose weight. I began to run. There was
Oh,
a neighbor who turned up living in my building who was an economics PhD who worked for the UN for over 30 years. He retired and came to our building. And I
okay.
was 17 and he was maybe 65. And he would allow me to go through all his books. He had this huge
Wow.
library in his home. And I just started reading and something just happened. There was something that took off. And the army seemed at that time to me the most fabulous thing I could do. I would get a chance to serve the nation. I would get a chance
Yeah.
to be outstanding. I would get a chance to build legacy. It seemed to check all the boxes. So
Wow.
that's why I went. And I was in that transformation phase where nothing seemed impossible after a while.
So books were your friends, and because of that, it motivated you to get into this profession initially.
I read a lot. Yeah, I still read a
Wow.
lot. I'm a compulsive reader. I somehow can't stop taking in information.
That's so beautiful. So now I'm much more curious about the kind of autism that you have. So you said that you are a compulsive reader.
Yeah.
And you have an IQ of 163. That's amazing.
Mhm.
Um, so then the education system, or what was something, weren't you enjoying education? Is that the reason why the scores never came up? Or was it because of the kind of system we have? Or you developed reading habit later on? Like, what was it?
No, I used to read right from a very young age.
Since
I
childhood,
was
okay.
reading Edgar Rice Burroughs when I was in grade six and seven. So I was quite a voracious reader, but none of it translated into real life. Nothing could
Ah,
make sense. It was just a place. It was
okay.
But see, you were asking about autism and Asperger's. Now, autism is
Mhm.
something which affects mainly the social interactions parts. Then
Yeah.
there's sub things like I have prosopagnosia, that's also known as face blindness, wherein I can see you, I can
Okay.
see everything you're doing, but
Okay.
my brain has a glitch where I cannot read or understand your tone, your expressions, your facial expressions. None of that registers in my head.
Mm,
So it's
okay.
like flying blind during conversations. And the same works the other way around. I have no clue what kind of tone, emotion, or expression I'm using, including on my face. So,
Ah,
as a kid, when you don't know you have autism and you have all these tics where you are flying blind as a bat in social conversations, you generally do struggle. You have a lot to struggle with, a lot.
yes.
When you meet someone on a normal basis, most of your social interactions on whether to say hi or whether to hug someone or whether to maintain eye
Yes.
contact, all of these are intuitive for you.
Yes.
For people like me, they're not intuitive at all. It has to be reinvented in every single interaction. And we also have a poor sensory capacity. So you get
Okay.
sensory overloads and meltdowns very soon because your capacity is
Mm-hmm.
limited. Now if I knew all that, then life would have been different. But I didn't
Absolutely.
know that, and my parents didn't know it, and nobody
Mm,
around us even heard of autism. So
right.
naturally, it was a tough environment. Not because anyone was tough on me, it was just the
Yeah.
environment. Ignorance.
I cannot even imagine the a life without understanding someone's voice modulation or expression. It must have been really difficult. I mean, like for someone who's not never experienced it, I I remember when I had COVID for the first time, I lost smell and taste. So that was very frustrating. And for someone who always had the ability to smell and taste, so this is really new to me. I had no idea where, there could be a situation where one could not understand the voice modulation, and you are not able to understand what how am I speaking. So that's really very interesting.